Hey, what's up, y'all? So, another video coming to you from the land of Migichi. Welcome to Graves Dynamics. Today, I'm going to just go over sim racing, man. Like, there's a lot coming out. There's a lot that I'm excited about. I hope you guys are just as excited, too. There's a lot of things that recently came out. Unfortunately, I'm like most of you who wasn't able and had the pleasure of going to ADAC and the Expo this year, and I've never been, and I'm really new to sim racing. As you know, if you followed me all along, I've spent quite a bit of money on this sim rig, and like you, it just seems like a huge money pit. As we know, the goal is to become more simulated, more real-like, and more real life, and simulate what it's like to be in a real race car. Most of us will never set foot in a real race car. Even if you pay for those driving experiences, they're not the same as racing in a real race car. You know that, I know that, we all know that. So we have gone ahead and spent all this money with the hope and prayer that if we spend enough, we will simulate to 100% what a car is like. And we all know that's not going to actually happen, but we do it because we love it and it's fun. And I enjoy every bit of it, but more and less I have fun. And I think that's the biggest thing that we ought to follow moving forward. So again, this video is mainly about those things that I am looking forward to. And hopefully you like this video and you like everything that I share. If you do, go ahead and give me that thumbs up, turn those notifications on, and click on that subscribe link. So let's get to it. So the first thing that I am quite excited about is, a few wheels that are coming to a shop near you. And that first one being the Ascher McLaren Ultimate wheel. This wheel, when I saw, and again, watching the video, like I was so excited, like, oh my God, this is absolutely awesome. And again, if you've watched previous videos, you know, wheels with screens, not very practical for me right now with the seating position I'm in, but that doesn't mean I don't want them and I don't want to spend tons of money on them. Every time I see these wheels, I just get so excited. And when I look at this wheel, the first thing that strikes to me is it's got a nice screen on it. The grips look hopefully softer than what I'm running on the Cube controls wheel. I love the Cube controls to death, but the grips are killer. And they break in a little bit over time, but still, they're very hard. And these look to be softer, and I would hope they are, but the buttons on here, they don't look like stickers. They look like illuminated that are already created. So I'm hoping that there's some customization you can get with these buttons when it does come out. I think the more customization you can add, I know there's a cost to it, but I mean, having some customization on what buttons you can select would be awesome. I know this wheel will be quite expensive, but hey, you know what? We're willing to pay that money. We overspend on all the sim gear. They know that we will, but you pay a price for something premium. So seeing this really got me excited about what's to come. The Simucube active pedal. Like, I don't know about you guys. I was hoping this was a whole lot cheaper, but let's be honest, the research and development that went into this, we all know a lot of money. So for them to justify research and development on these pedals, you have to spend the money. And I know they are $2,500, and I don't anticipate having one anytime soon. This would be something that will likely be, once it's manufactured, others will make their versions of it. But man, the promise of this, if this ever came down to something where they can produce them and they get to the point where they've made enough to recoup the money they spent on research and development, this is a pedal I am clamoring to try. I would love to get my hands on one, and I'm pretty sure you would as well. Just not at the price tag of $2,500 per pedal. So $5,000 on pedals. I mean, I know we'll spend a lot, but good Lord. And I can only imagine the people who've already purchased them, because I know they went up for pre-order, and from what I understand, they've gotten tons of orders. So to me, if you get 10 orders, that's a ton when you think of them at $2,500 a piece. But again, sim racers will spend the money, especially if it is as good as advertised, and Simucube makes nothing short of excellence. So I expect them to be great, and looking forward to hopefully one day getting a chance to try them out. Next is Asetek Sim Sports. Now, this is their Invicta wheelbase, but mainly what I'm looking at is Asetek is really building an ecosystem. As you guys all know, I use Moza gear and I love the Moza ecosystem. Now, granted, every ecosystem has their pros and their cons. They have some things you like, some things you wish it would change, some things that can be better. But more importantly, you want your ecosystem that you spent your money on to continue to innovate and develop. And Asetek is coming on really strong. They came out with their pedals and they promised there would be more to come. And they have done nothing short of delivered. Now, granted, I have yet to get my hands on this like many of the other individuals, but it looks very promising. And as I've told you all before, my near future is to try and find a way to justify upgrading to another wheelbase that, to me, has more Newton meters. And again, I'm looking at Simucube, I'm looking at the Moza R9, this Invicta wheelbase with I think 27 Newton meters. Yeah, everything is on the table, especially when you start spending your hard-earned money. And their quick release, although not my favorite one, I do love the Moza quick release and taking it off and putting it on. But being able to do it with one hand, and the fact that they're building an ecosystem so I can take my Cube Controls wheel, pop it on in the future, and then it'll just seamlessly work. I won't have to use wires. It won't have to be Bluetooth. It just click in, connects, and it's all going to work through their system. And they've already got partners signed on, the Cube Controls and Ascher and GSI. Like, that to me, now that's where we should go, because they realize they're in the business, like you were saying, of making money. And how do you make money? You get your sim gear in the hands of more sim racers. And how do you do that? You open up your platform, you open up your system so that many others can use it. We know a lot of different companies are not willing to do so. Or if they are, you just buy a QR and attach it. And again, Moza does the same thing. You attach the QR, put your new wheel on for any other wheel you buy, and it works. Now, granted, it has to be wired or wirelessly connected to your computer. It doesn't talk to the Moza ecosystem, but this is going to be a little bit different. I think it's a total game changer when you have other wheels and third parties saying, hey, I'm going to buy the Asetek wheelbase, but I don't want your wheel. I want somebody else's. No problem. You can buy one of their wheels, put on this adapter, connect it, and it works. So I'm excited about that because I think this is where companies should go, and I have to give it to Asetek for really putting their foot in this one and going head first. So good job there. And again, their Asetek ABS pedal, the fact that they're going to have this attachment that mimics ABS so you can attach to their pedals, I mean, that's a win-win. I'm wondering if it's also something you could potentially buy and attach to any other pedals. Because the one drawback for me I didn't like about the Asetek pedals is, one, the travel, which I know they've addressed that, giving you a little bit more travel. I know they want to simulate a real live pedal, but if you watch different, real live races, pedal travel differs depending on what car you're in. You watch F1 and some drivers have a lot of travel, but I still want the force that you get with the Invictus. So being able to also spread them a little bit wider apart, again, I am not some of these racers that you watch and you see and you look and you see, these are guys, I'm 5'9", 220 pounds. Lewis Hamilton and all these guys are much thinner than I am. So so I want to be comfortable. I'm in my house, I'm not in a race car. So I'm glad that he's adapted and made those changes. So again, totally excited. Cube Controls, that's PO1. Pedals look nice. From everything I've seen, again on video, everything looks cool with them. I'm anxious to see how they work. I'm anxious to see how they operate. There's a lot of details with everything we know. I mean, the preloads and load cells, and again, there's so many pedals on the market. Right now I'm running Heusinkveld Sprint pedals. Some people have Ultimates, some people have Invictas, some people have some of the Sim Coaches. My buddy Mark has Sim Coaches pedals, and just everybody has different pedals they've spent different money on. And pedals are one of those things, everybody, you love them or you hate them. Some people run V3s, and why Fanatec doesn't have the next step up from V3s, but people run V3s and they're hella quick. So yeah, but pedals, a lot of them are coming, and I'm excited to see where they go. And I presume these would be much more reasonable than $2,500 per pedal. But still, I'm guessing they're going to be right in line with the Heusinkveld Sprints and Heusinkveld Ultimates. So somewhere in that price range is what I would presume. Cube Controls GTX2. Again, this is a sweet looking wheel. I am excited to see it, and I'd love to race around with it. But again, after using my Cube Controls F Pro, the one thing that I'm always leery about now is the grips. Like, they look like they're soft, but they are not soft at all. And I wonder how this GTX 2 is, because again, I know they go with a much harder, more durable. But again, like when you're racing long stints, it can be a little bit uncomfortable. Again, like I said, it breaks in, but you have to wear gloves because it's slippery. Two, like I said, they're very firm. And I know some people prefer very firm. I do not. I'm getting used to them. But when you spend the kind of money we're spending, I don't want to have to get used to something as much as I want to grab it, feel it, and go, oh, this is perfect. So excited to see this, especially for the GT racing in me that wants to try, and who doesn't want to have as many wheels as possible. But this, to me, everything looks great. It looks nice. It looks pretty. It looks shiny. I just am sitting here wondering how the grip's going to feel. Are they going to be firm? Are they going to be soft underhand? Are they going to have a little bit of give to it? So again, if you're racing in an endurance race and you're racing, for 24 hours of Le Mans or something, and you're racing for 3-hour stints, yeah, having your hands on some, wheels would be nice if it's soft and gives a little bit. So exciting, but just curious about the grips. This track racer GT TRX that goes from GT to F1 and anything in between, like, this has me totally excited. I have a GT Omega Prime right now, and I really love it. I love the 160/40 profile. It's thick, it's sturdy, it doesn't move. I've got it on wheels because this same desk that I'm talking to you on is the same desk I wheel my rig to, and that's how I go ahead and use for myself racing. But when I think about looking at this, I go, man, it's very intriguing. And I think it's about $1,100. It's on pre-order now, so it's looking to be delivered Q4 of this year, which we're in. And I'm guessing Q1 of next year will likely be the case. But for about $1,100, you get everything you see there, minus, of course, the wheelbase, wheel rim, the shifters and the pedals, but you get the whole base there that you see, I believe, seat and all. So that to me is very intriguing. I'm just curious how sturdy it is. The 80/20 style profile rigs and bigger, always very sturdy. So I'm anxious to see how this works. Is there any flex? They're known to make really good products, but again, one can only tell when you're actually sitting in it. Even watching reviews, whether you're watching me review something or you're watching one of the guys who are much larger than me, it's very subjective. And sometimes I feel like some people are more forthright and more open and honest. Some people are more reserved in a review. I need to know exactly 100% how something operates because, like you, I'm spending a lot of money on this gear. So I pride myself on an honest opinion of what I think, and I think a lot of the reviewers do that as well. I just think some do it better than others, and I would hope that if I was able to see something like this in the hands of somebody else, I would love to think about getting it, especially if, too, in the corners I can put it on wheels, because it can be stationary. I have to be able to move it around. So another one I'm excited about. They also are going to be making their own F1 wheel and GT wheel. So this is the prototype that they had that was 3D printed. Something they mentioned at ADAC was like they have a GT style that looks similar, but they can pop out this screen for their Formula style wheel rim that doesn't have a screen, and it can be taken out. So when they're producing, it requires less manufacturing. That screen can be popped in or something else can be put there. So I'm anxious to see how they figure that out. If it's something modular, if you can add your own screen later, who knows? But I'm curious to see how this all operates. Looks decent. I'd like to see a finished model, but again, it's a 3D printed model and it has a decent shape to it. Just want to see what's coming in the future. So really exciting times as a sim racer. Ascher, again, they're making their McLaren, Formula wheel, essentially with that nice big dash in it. This is a more trimmed down version because they're also making a McLaren wheel for real life racing. So obviously the buttons and inputs are vastly different. And one thing he pointed out, which got me thinking, we have more inputs on a sim wheel than they do in real life. And sometimes makes you think like, why? But there's so many other things we control that they control differently that they get when they're in a real life car, like the, force feedback. I have to get it on the wheelbase to tell me if I'm drifting. They're getting it by G-forces. So there's different switches and different things that we have to have. And we do have in a, sim race. And again, cameras and looking left and looking right, like they don't do that in a real car. They just look and they look. So, the advantage of being in a real car. So for some of us who have massive screens, I do not. I have 27s. I don't think those are massive. But for some people who have some great rigs, like Will, I think he has triple 60s or triple 65s. Like he can look to his right and it's like a real car is there. So for us, having the buttons is cool. And I think this Will looks cool. Much more minimalistic design. But again, if you're GT racing, maybe there are things you don't need that you do need when you're F1 racing and things like that. So exciting to see. The GSI Hyper P1, let's just say we're all hyped about it because, yes, it does look like a Red Bull type wheel. I know a lot of people are excited for that. I'm just excited, one, because it's smaller than their currently Formula Pro wheel now. That one is about 320 millimeters, 320 plus, some people have said. It's pretty big. I've used it at Micro Center and, because I have one close to me. This one is 300 millimeters from tip to tip. So I am really anxious to get my hands on this one because I do a lot more formula racing and I'm jumping into some LMDH and some LMPs and some GTs more. So having a smaller wheel size makes it far more versatile. At 320, their Formula Pro, that's just very big. And I'm not sure why they went with that size. I think that's really big, much bigger than you'd ever want for a Formula car. I've seen 300 millimeters is, I think, that perfect versatile size. I think 280 on my Cube controls. I love 280. Anything smaller than that, then is really just all formula. Anything too big, then it just becomes too cumbersome. So again, totally hype about the Hyper P1. Excited to see what it offers, and I can't wait to see. My buddy's ordered it, so once he gets his, he'll tell me all about it. But if it's anything like their future or other wheel, it may take some time to get. So I think I have a little bit of time to get this one. So this is the P1 Sim R9. I just thought it was cool because, again, I have a turn racing rim that's similar to that. But the fact that the screen is more vertical and portrait, like, that's just cool. I don't know, how the wheel feels in hand. And many of these wheels I do not know. I do not own them outside of trying some of them at other locations. But the ones that aren't here yet, I haven't had my pleasure to try them. But this one looks really cool. I do have a buddy who has the P1 Sim, their Formula wheel, and it's okay. Like, nothing to write home about. Actually, he doesn't use it at all. So it's like interesting, it looks really nice. Looks very much like a, Mercedes Formula wheel, but again, from everything I've heard, it's just not that great. It has issues every now and then, just things you don't want to deal with when you're spending the kind of money that we're all spending on these wheels. So again, I just thought this one was cool and I would love to get my hands on it to try it out. For you Fanatec guys out there, I know you're excited, especially if you rally race. This is going to be that button box, that podium style button box. I know a lot of you are looking and licking your chops to get it in your hand, and I can't wait to see what you do when you get it, because watching people who formula race I think is really cool. I don't do it. I don't have the time to practice everything, and just being able to put a wheel on, I don't want to have a shifter and a handbrake, and it's just too much money that I'd rather spend on other things. But for those of you that do, let me know when you get this how this is. I would love to know and get your feedback on what you think this is and how cool you think it or excited about getting it. Or do you think they should release something else? Because to me, this is cool, but I still feel like Fanatec is missing entire segments of people. You have the McLaren GT wheel that's plastic, but you don't have a really nice one that's in the $400, $500, $600 range. Kind of why I switched to Moza. You don't have a wheel rim right now that has a screen in it. Like, that just seems baffling to me. And I get that, you know, they have a range of wheel rims and they have a plethora of round ones. But you can only have so many round and D shape before you go, okay, can I get something else? And to me, to not have a, you know, mid-tier $500-600 GT style rim like the McLaren, make a carbon fiber version of that, you know, with a screen in it. I mean, Moza did, and that FSR is sweet. So why can't you, Fanatec? So excited about what's coming, but you have the resources and the manpower to do more. And I know you can make great products because you have for years. So come out with that next one, but I know everybody's excited about this one. Just as much as they're excited about the Fanatec Bentley GT rim. I know it's been in the works forever. Every time I've seen it, it looks cool. Not my cup of tea. I don't have Fanatec anymore, one. But I have no use for it. It's not something I would want, but when I see it in action, every time I see it and they start turning that wheel and the digital screen just stays in that upright position and it moves really smoothly, that's really cool. I think that feature is awesome. And I think if you're excited about a wheel rim that's going to have a dash in it from Fanatec, a digital dash in it from Fanatec in the way this one does, I think that's cool, but I can only imagine the price. And to me, as we've looked at so many other wheel rims, you look at the price of what they're pricing these things at, like the BMW wheel rim. It is a sweet wheel rim. It is a very nice high-end wheel rim. But when you look at competitors like GSI, why would you spend as much as opposed to just getting the GSI with a dash? I mean, to me, if I am looking at Fanatec, this is where I think they're missing the ball. Nice wheel, but what base are you targeting? If you're just wanting to be in the high-end market, that's cool. You've got a Bentley wheel rim. But if you're going to compete in that high-end market, as we can see and have seen, that competition is fierce. And there are a lot of great wheel rims that are coming that we're actually going to take a look at, because this is one of my favorite ones. The Bavarian SimTech Omega 1. This is really exciting. I saw this and I was really excited. A little down on the fact that it's 300 millimeters, but any bigger than I think it would be too big. Again, I would love if it was around 290. Maybe not the 280, but 290. But again, the grips look a little softer on this. The fact that they have 3 rotary encoders on it, 3 thumb encoders on it, and then the 3 rotary in the middle, like, to me, that's like perfect. Some people I know don't like thumb encoders like that. I love them. And again, a real Formula wheel has those 3, especially when you're looking at a Mercedes wheel rim. So I am excited about this, and the pricing looks really good. So again, like everything, I've got to see it in hand. But the cool thing about these, I do love the fact that you can go on their website and customize every sticker that goes on. I wish they weren't stickers though. I wish they were backlit buttons that you could customize for a fee. I'll pay you $100 to customize my buttons to get what I want them to say. I get stickers have to be put over the thumb encoders, you know, and I presume that when you buy it that way, they will, you know, have them put on professionally. And by professional, I mean somebody who works for them, and make sure it looks nice when they get it on. But this one, I'm excited. I watched a video on this, and this wheel rim just makes my mouth water. So yeah, really excited about this one. Can't wait to see it because I've customized it. I know which one I want. I'm not into pre-ordering things and waiting. I want to see it in hand, see a review of it before I make that decision. But really excited about this one. GSI GT Max 32. What more can I say? Again, GSI makes great products, and this is what I was saying. When Fanatec is getting into this space, these are the wheels, just like the Omega 1, just like the Ascher wheel rims. This is who you're competing with. And if I'm thinking of spending my hard-earned money, whether I'm with Fanatec or anybody else, I'm going to spend it on something I think is great value. And I don't know if those Fanatec $1,200, $1,300 wheel rims are going to be, they can't compete with some of the products that are coming out, and this is great. I just can't wait to see it in person when they arrive. So another GSI wheel that I think is excellent. Now I added this one in here because, again, a lot of you may have saw the reveal, or you may not have seen the reveal of this wheel rim. Many of you might go, who is Sim Coaches? I know that a lot of people looked at this and was like, oh my God. Now they are charging, $1,999 for this wheel rim. This is just a render. I have not seen it in person. Nobody has. From what I understand, it is made in the U.S. It is manufactured in the U.S. So I do expect, and understand that price is going to be a little bit higher than most. But this wheel is $2,000, and it would have to knock everything out of the box. The render, a lot of things look plastic, but from what I am understanding, it's anodized aluminum. So, I'm curious to see what it actually looks like, because right now when I look at this and I look at a GSI wheel rim and I say, well, that's $1,500, $1,600. The Bavarian Sim Coaches Omega 1 is $1,500 US. So I look at this and go, this is $2,000. I don't get the inputs that I get. So I need to see this in person to actually see if the value, because right now this looks like it should be maybe a $900 wheel. And that's kind of a stretch, because my Cube Controls wheel rim has more inputs than this. And it is a great wheel rim. It just doesn't have a dash. So if you want to charge a premium of $1,100 for this because it has a dash in it, great. $2,000 I am still sketchy on. But again, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt, because you never know. So that is pretty much all that I'm excited about right now. I don't know about you guys, but I know that the sim racing scene and sim racing market has a lot going on, and I am excited to see what comes. As always, if you're excited about what I posted, if you want to offer some feedback and what you're excited about for 2023 and beyond, please leave some comments down below. Let me know what you're excited to purchase, what you're excited to see, what's the first thing you're going to purchase in 2023, what you're saving your money on. Because I think this is an exciting time to be in the sim racing scene and an exciting time to be a sim racer. So, as always, thumbs up, notifications on, and go ahead and click that subscribe link. I'll talk to you later. Peace.